Welcome to Breast Friends Cancer Support Network. I'm Michelle Beck. I'm a two-time and 9-year survivor of breast cancer. I am the patient programs assistant at Breast Friends of Oregon. And when I have time, you can find me on social media or my blog at I Never Liked Pink. So today, super fun episode because, excuse my French, we have a badass lady warrior here. Her name is Viki Zarkin, and we are going to go through her journey of being initially diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, literally having over 30 different areas in her body that were affected. And at this point, I'm going to take a rough guess, about 12 years ago. Is that right, Viki?
Yep.
Awesome. And she has taken this and she refused really what her doctor told her. And we're going to get into all of that because it's a great story. And she is here today because she was bound and determined to raise her kids and fight this stupid cancer that has been in her body. And now she is a life coach. She advocates for others. She's an author of a book called I Am the One, which, I mean, talk about a title. That is pretty amazing. She's a motivational speaker and so much more. So Viki, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, super fun. This is my favorite part of the podcast, is talking to women and finding out what they do and how they actually thrive after a cancer diagnosis, no matter what the obstacles and the odds. So please tell us a little bit about yourself, the non-cancer side.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a mom of two. I have an elder son who's a music student in Florida, and a younger daughter who is a business student in Indiana.
So you guys are empty nesters.
It was my first year.
Oh.
My daughter just finished her first year of college. She was my youngest. So I had my first full year as an empty nester. I'm really glad she's home right now.
My son was just gone for a week at camp and I desperately missed him. And he's only 11.
I can't. Yeah. I mean, really, it's hard. But yeah, I mean, like she like lays down with me at night because I have trouble sleeping and talks to me so that I can help me fall asleep. Oh, so
that's the
sweetest
home. Thing.
I know, right? How lucky. So, I've been married 30 yees. We just
Congratulations.
Our 30th wedding anniversary. Yeah.
That's awesome.
To the same person.
I'm only going on 12. I met my husband later in life. So I'm shooting for a long life so we can get to those dates, but it is not easy.
My husband was later in life for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's a lot of work. It's worth it, but it is definitely work.
Yeah. Yeah, marriage is work, and especially with me. I mean, the poor guy has to deal with a sick wife for 12 years. So.
Well, obviously he loves you and you're worth it. So let's kind of dig into your cancer story. Now, I know that your initial diagnosis story is interesting to say the least. So tell us what brought you to the doctor's office or to the point where you had your diagnosis.
Just to give you an idea of my background, I was somebody that was getting regular mammograms every year since into my mid-20s because of just a benign incident that I had at that time. And, they just wanted to keep an eye on me. So I tell you this so that you understand that prior to me discovering my cancer, I had my mammogram a year prior. And it was 100% clean. Wow. So 1 year later, and it's everywhere. So that just to give you an idea of the aggressive nature of the type of cancer I have. So given that background, so I had was going to Johns Hopkins, which is about a 2-hour drive for me. So they did like a month of testing before they actually staged me and so forth. That was very grueling, back and forth and back and forth. And then, I came home to 2 small children that needed bath time and homework and, play time and stuff. So it was very difficult, the not knowing.
Well, the stress on your body alone, and the emotions of that.
That not knowing at the beginning was very difficult. then I'm told that they've chosen the best oncologist in all of Johns Hopkins for me. Lucky me. And he's been informed of all my tests and so forth, and then ready to discuss my diagnosis. So the Three Stooges, my mom, my husband, and I, who've been going back and forth, we called ourselves the Three Stooges. So we're in his medical operatory, and just to give you an idea, my husband and my mother are sitting to my left, and he's talking. In my book, I liken it to the Peanuts character. Wah, 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 wah. And, like, he's not looking me in the eye. He's not giving me any kind of, there's no connection there. And, I'm just like not hearing anything that he's saying. And finally he says, I've consulted with all the best colleagues here at Johns Hopkins, and we've come to the same conclusion. You need to go home and get your affairs in order.
What the hell?
I was like, whoa, back up. Like, I'm thinking, this is breast cancer. Breast cancer is curable. I'm going in. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's go, And he says, go home and die. And the Viki that walked in the room died for sure. But the Viki that you're talking to today appeared. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what happened. And I literally flew across the room, lunged across the room, as I call it, but I projectiled across the room. And I grabbed him by his coat and I pulled him in really close. And I said, you talk about consulting all these other doctors, but you didn't consult me. What about what I want? What about what I think? I said, I don't care what you cut off me, what you stick in me. I am going to be the one. Hence the book. I said, I'm going to make it. And then I realized, oh my God, my hands are around my neck. Oh my God, he's going to call security. So I flew back, and the room was really quiet.
Of course, because they're all in shock, like, oh my God, we all listen to our doctors, and she's not listening to her doctor.
You hit that nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. See, as a woman, you understand that.
Oh, 100%. It's called good patient syndrome.
Right. And we're also bred.
Yes.
To believe that doctors are the all answer, and we have no opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was
especially a male doctor, excuse me, but the patriarchy is also in play here.
Exactly. So so the room was really quiet. Because he was a little shocked, and I was a little shocked. So finally he looks up and he says, and he looks at me for the first time, and he says, okay, I can't promise anything, but how about we start with chemotherapy? We'll see how you do, and we'll go from there. Is that okay with you? And I said, okay. Now, this is the thing. I knew right then and there that I was in a lot of hot water. I didn't know a lot about cancer at that point. I wasn't one of those people that had a lot of family members pass away from cancer. I really knew only the scary things that everybody else knew. I didn't really know a lot of details. And I knew I just was buying myself some time. If I had gone to another doctor at this point, I realized he was probably going to say the same thing. I was riddled in cancer. When he got down to, and I really understood, it was all over my mediastinum, which was my neck, my esophagus, my mammary glands, my whole chest wall, my left ventricle of my heart, the left lung, more lymph nodes than you could possibly count. It was wrapped around my nipple, all through my breast. I was riddled in cancer. So it was not looking good for me. And so I immediately just went into fight mode, because I walked out of there saying one thing: absolutely nobody is going to raise those children except me.
Mama
And
Bear came out.
oh, yeah, those kids saved my life because, bam, I mean, that's all I thought about. And then I did, hit the ground researching, and then went into like a major fight mode. I call it my tunnel vision. And I didn't look right and I didn't look left. I just fought like hell. And, took one day at a time. And, from there, I had to look for new treatment because the treatments that they were going to be doing at Johns Hopkins wasn't going to heal me. It was just going to buy me time. I was going to raise my children.
So
Now,
other than chemotherapy, what did you end up going through? I'm sure you've done all the things.
I've done it all. Yeah, I've done it all. But I did the hard chemo, and it was very successful for me. And then from there, I did a double radical mastectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, Johns Hopkins wanted to do something called photon radiation. Photon radiation is the radiation that most people get. It's a large blast, and it goes in one side and out through the back.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of scatter. So they knew then, what I didn't know at that time was that I would probably die of congestive heart failure rather than the cancer because of the scatter of the radiation. So I found a doctor that was willing to do proton radiation for me. Now, the big deal about that and the difference is proton radiation is a pinpoint radiation, and it can stop on a dime and it can go around vital organs. The problem for me with proton radiation is normally used for brain cancer, prostate cancer, tiny little areas. My area was huge. It was my whole chest cavity. So no doctor was willing to do that. But I found one, a pediatric doctor, believe it or not, in Indiana, that agreed to do the proton radiation treatment on me. And along with other things and frame of mind, and all those sorts of things that come into play, that was a real life changer for me. So I was there for about 5 months, and it was grueling treatment, grueling for the doctor. I mean, before I even arrived, he had 200 hours of mapping on me that he did before I even got there with my preliminary tests and, all the plaster Paris stuff that they do and so forth. So this doctor was a real godsend to me. And then of course, fighting with the insurance companies, trying to explain to them, no, just because it's not been used in this way doesn't mean it's experimental treatment. It's, a tried true radiation treatment that's been around, forever. And, they're just more comfortable when it's okay if they use it for man's organs, but God forbid they use it for female organs.
That's a whole separate podcast about different things that if men went through hot flashes, there would be no hot flashes. That's a whole separate discussion. Now, so obviously you have gone through, and you mentioned that you really didn't have anyone in your family, but that had a family history. Did you ever do genetic testing?
We did, and I'm still it.
Wow, gosh, it's amazing
and
that
everyone did it in the family. My aunt, my sister, my cousins, my mother. Yeah, I was
and yes, you are still going through treatment. I was stalking your Instagram this morning, and you did a day in the life of chemo recently. How often do you have to go in and do that?
Every 28 days.
Okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, you say it's not so bad, but then you have all these other doctor appointments.
True. It's a
because
full-time job.
yeah, because the built up of the chemo has caused osteoporosis, rheumatoid arthritis. I have torn ligaments in my hip. I have issues where I can't use my hands and my toes, and with the neuropathy issues, and
Mhm.
I have energy problems, and I have a lot of limitations. I get tired, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the thing is, laying around and babying all those ailments isn't going to make them go away per
Right.
se. So I like to just move on and just go through my day. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you fought so hard to live. Why would
Yes.
you waste your time whining and complaining about stuff that hurts when you're living?
Exactly. I've just been diagnosed with osteoporosis. I've got neuropathy in my hands and my feet. I'm actually just hit my 5-year mark on my aromatase inhibitors, and I might be done because my quality of life was incredibly sucky to the point where I couldn't do anything. But whenever I do complain to my husband, he gets all of it, that, oh, my hands hurt, my feet hurt, my knees hurt. I'm like, but it's better than the alternative, because I'm here to watch my son grow and to experience all the amazing things in life. And you used your children as your motivation, but then you really had to find something inside you to become your own advocate. Like, yes, it was those words like, go get your affairs in order, but how did you do that? How did you know, like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this?
I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question, to be honest with you, because I immediately just it was like instinct for me.
Like a flip just switched.
Yeah, like, the old Viki died. She was not strong enough to handle what needed to come. And I'm here. I'm here to take care of business, and I'm staying.
I love that. That is the perfect time for us to take a quick break, because we're going to jump into some other things afterwards. So listeners, please stay with us. If you need help, please go to breastfriends.org and see what we can do for you. And if you would like to help donate to ensure that women do not go through cancer alone. Sorry, I was having like cancer brain. Please donate on our website, or you can text BF Radio to 41444. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Michelle Beck. My guest is Viki Zarkin, thriver, metaviver, I guess we'll say, author of I Am the One, motivational coach, speaker. And we are here talking about her journey. Yes. And we're going to talk about her book, I Am the One, which you can find on Amazon and on Viki's website, iamtheone.com. And you can also go there to find a ton of other media and podcasts. And we're going to talk about her course that she's developed and for her life coaching. But she's pretty much just, if you're a Ted Lasso fan, she's a boss ass bitch. So
yay. I am a Ted Lasso fan too. Thank you.
I always have to throw that out there, because people are like, I don't understand. I'm like, just go watch Ted Lasso. You'll get it.
It's so uplifting and fun. And yeah,
it is. And we need that in life. And especially with, as we mentioned before break, you really struggle with a lot of pain and, different things that are going through your body. So now let's talk about really, if you have advice for others on how to navigate the healthcare system, because you mentioned prior that you had to fight with insurance companies about different treatments. And I really think that is such yes, they help pay for our care, but I think insurance companies are a huge obstacle to our care, because if it's not standard by the book, it's a no. So how did you deal with that?
Well, I have an interesting story I can tell you, but I will say one thing first. I will say that I teach this course you had mentioned. It's called There's More to Cancer Than the Diagnosis. And I call it that because that's exactly how I felt from the beginning. You think cancer's the worst thing that you're going to get, but quite honestly, navigating the cancer is a lot more difficult. And they don't have a course out there today that teaches you submit or gives you advice, or like day in a life, or what did you do? How do you tell your kids? Or how do you deal with the insurance companies? How do you be your own advocate? How do you find the right doctor? These are all things that I discuss in my class, as well as your question, navigating the healthcare system, because it is so tricky. And 75% of cancer patients are divorced and bankrupt. 75%.
That's a really ugly statistic.
It's a horrible statistic. I mean, 75%. The nurses said to me, how long have you been married? 70% of husbands leave or wives leave.
Like, thanks. That's just what I needed to hear today.
It was the strangest thing. And they told me quite often. Yeah. But the fact is, it's such a polarizing statistic. And bankruptcy too. I mean, like, I've got medical bills up the wazoo. But in terms of advice, other than taking my class, it's a lot. There's a lot, involved. I mean, you really have to, the first thing you have to do is pick your people and wipe out the white noise. That's what I say you have to do first, because what's happening is all your loved ones, family, friends, and so forth are all very upset, and rightfully so. You're well loved, but all of this advice coming in 15 different angles is not good for you, because it just makes you scared, confused, and lose your own voice and your own direction. So the first thing you need to do is pick your people, one for each year. You don't need any more. And everybody else, you have to remember, you can't worry about hurting people's feelings. Your life is on the line. We are bred as women to not want to ruffle feathers, not want to hurt people's feelings. Remember, people, please, I'm begging of you, you need to get that out of your mind, because it's life or death. Life or death. And you mentioned that I'm a coach. I am a coach, and I hear a lot of stories, and a lot of people that don't take the advice, which is fine. I'm here just to offer you suggestions. But the fact is, I'm the only one living today with this particular aggressive form of cancer in the world. I'm it. So I'm told. Mm-hmm. That is really scary. And then bear in mind, 12 years later, I'm still the one. There is something terribly wrong with that. And so that's why I'm pounding the pavements. That's why I wrote the book. That's why I'm, please hire me to speak. This is what I want to go out in the world to tell people. I no longer want to stand alone. Other women have the right to tuck their kids into bed at night, as I had that greatest gift that I cherish and thank God for. And other women have the right to stand shoulder to shoulder with me and take care of their children. So, things have to change for healthcare, for women, for cancer.
All of the above.
I'm only one little lady, but you know what? I'm going to shout until I can't shout anymore.
One little lady with a big mission. And that actually brings me to a question that I had that I wanted to talk about. You had made a promise to God when you were diagnosed. What was that?
Yeah. I made a promise to God that if I could raise my children, that I would help women. And about a year, my daughter was a senior in high school, and we were, deep into COVID. And I knew that she would be my last one out of the house in a year. And that would be the best opportunity that I would have to now really dig deep and keep that promise to God in a big way. Like, let's help lots of women, not just the somebody I dedicated organically. I would help somebody every day. And I've done that every day for as long as I've been living, but I want bigger impact. I want to help. I want to maybe change the face of healthcare if I can. And so I wrote the book. That was my first step. And I thought the book can help legitimize me so that I can stand on the book higher than just standing flat on the floor.
It does. It definitely, I was talking to my husband about this recently, and that is, I have not gone through a challenging, I mean, yes, I've had breast cancer twice and it sucks, but I'm not still in active treatment 12 years later, but I do feel like I have things to share and I want to be an advocate, and I'm working on my own book, and I'm like, I have to get that finished. So I have that out there because it does give you legitimacy in certain arenas, and you obviously have a story to tell. And
you know what? It was so cathartic
yes,
for me writing it. So I definitely encourage you, even if it doesn't go anywhere. I was changed forever when I wrote it on pages.
Yeah.
And my family members were, if anything, the most, I walked my family's footsteps when I wrote the book. And I came to the conclusion that they had it much more difficult than I did.
Because it really affects everyone in the household. And that is not talked about often enough. Our spouses, especially if you have a male partner, they are,
there's not a lot they can do.
No. And all they want to do is fix things. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to take care of us and fix things, and they can't, and they feel helpless.
Yeah. And look, I have a mother still living. I mean, can you imagine that it was your child?
Oh, yeah.
You'd be devastated. I can't even imagine if it were one of my children. So they all have it so much harder. And so writing the book gave me a sense of what they went through. And also, I had blocked out, 90% of what I had done to survive on my own. So, there was just so many reasons for it. But I knew that I needed better purpose, because I've been holding my children as a large part of my purpose. And I know myself well enough, and I don't say this for like, oh, poor me, or it just is what it is. When you're sick like me, you don't mess around. You say it like it is. You know who you are. So I say it not, for sympathy. I just say it how it is. And how it is I'm not enough for me to fight for. I need a bigger purpose. I'm not enough for me. I don't hold myself in enough esteem. You understand? So, as most women don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted a bigger purpose that I could be accountable for, because it's my nature to fight for the little guy.
Of course.
So by writing the book and speaking and coaching, I have given myself a new purpose. And I'm respecting that it's my children's turn to fly.
Because they're young adults now, and they're in college. And
and they're exploring all new things. And so, you know what? 30 years into my marriage, I can have a new lease too, whether I'm sick or not. And I can decide, okay, I can make myself useful in other ways. And I have all of this. I didn't realize how much I had until I wrote the book. I have a lot of really, really helpful information. I mean, just solid, really good information. I mean, when you're sick like I am, and going, and it's over 12 years, there's not a lot that I haven't experienced. I mean, I've had 23 surgeries.
Oh, bless you. I thought I was high at 8.
8's high. You are high. I never tell anybody to compare themselves to me, because I am the one. So it's very difficult to compare yourself to me. But I say that so that you can understand my motivation, and it's pure. And I really, really, really want to help people. I started an organization called, is this a great name? Lunge for Healthcare.
Oh my God, that was literally my next question. Tell me about it. We're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the other things that I did to keep my promise to God and to help women. So I speak, I will coach anybody that needs help. I've got this Zoom class that is fabulous for loved ones, for family members, friends, healthcare workers, and of course, cancer patients. I mean, those are the best. I think that the best people for my particular course, and I keep it small, just so you know, to 10 to 12 people. So, and don't worry about getting shut out. I will just teach, 3 or 4 classes, I can just run them, overlap them, but I want to keep each individual class small so that you can get everybody else's life lessons, and we can feed off each other as a community. And oftentimes when you leave my class, you will have lifelong, friends and concerned individuals that probably are going through very similar things that you are.
Of course, it
And
means so much to have
it's a community.
a community of
develop
people.
a community. When
Yep,
I
who
start
get it.
teaching classes, I'll start having like big graduation parties, for reunions, and so people can see who's doing what and how they're doing and so forth. But then the other part of that is Lunge for Healthcare. And Lunge for Healthcare, or if you want to get it online, lungeforhealthcare.org. I set that up so that I can go to the insurance companies and Congress and eventually, hopefully, change the insurance companies and the healthcare choices for women today. See, what a lot of the young women don't realize, and this is, they're my real audience, because we want to educate our young girls and our daughters and the ones that are coming up. We want them to be able to listen to their own ailments, tap into their own healthcare concerns. That's like the number one thing that we teach for Lunge for Healthcare. And then the second is we ask doctors to listen first, diagnose second. And it is our belief that by changing those 2 things, and just those 2, we could save millions of dollars in preventative care, because there'll be much less cutting. You're catching things a lot quicker. We're communicating better, less pill popping, on and on and on. Much better for women, less women dying. I mean, isn't that what we're trying to do?
That is the ultimate goal.
Ultimate goal. So then what we do is we go to insurance companies, we go to Congress, we say, look, we've just saved you millions of dollars in preventative medicine. Now, give us back. I'm only asking up front. First, we always start small. Give us back what you took. People don't realize we were getting mammograms every year. Now they're only paying every 2 years. They were paying for ovarian screenings. We're not getting ovarian screenings. They were paying for mammograms at 35. They're not paying them till 50, 55 now, depending on your insurance.
I know, that is insane to me.
I mean, insane. Did you want to wait until we're all like stage 4, stage 3 cancer? I mean, wouldn't you want to get rid of it at stage 1 or beyond stage, So these are the things that we need to educate our society. And then, just ask nicely, look, we can prove that we've saved you all these dollars. We're not asking for money. We're asking just to give back what we saved you. We're not asking for any special thing. They spend a lot of money on everybody else but us. We get the short end of the stick. And we're still not asking for much. Just human compassion, some dignity.
And to be seen, like you said, in the big part of the two things, obviously through the insurance companies and preventative education and funding, but also to be seen by your providers.
Yes.
Like you said, your doctor didn't even look at you until you literally had to grab him by the lapels and be like, hey, bud, like pay attention to me and to what I want.
Right.
So powerful. So we are going to take another quick break. Listeners, if you would like to be my guest or submit your warrior story to me, please email me at michellebeck@breastfriends.org. Stay with us. We'll be back. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Michelle Beck. My guest is Viki Zarkin. She is the one. She has been living and thriving with metastatic breast cancer for over 12 years. And we've been talking about her journey and all the things that she has learned and what she really has to offer us now, because she's developed this amazing course. And Viki, tell me again what the course is called.
It's called There's More to Cancer Than the Diagnosis.
Got it.
That's exactly how I felt.
Perfect. Well, because there is. And one of the things as I mentioned earlier, I was listening to another podcast you were on, and you were just talking about, yes, you thought that getting this diagnosis was the worst possible thing that was going to happen. But literally then you're thrust into this whole navigation of my entire life has become treating and eradicating this cancer.
100%.
And, you know, it's a full-time job.
I know. You know, I always tell people, I liken it to, I go to sleep at night, I wake up and run up a hill, whether that hill is pain or fighting with doctors or going to doctors or fighting with the insurance companies, whatever the case may be. It's every day I run up the hill. I go to bed, I wake up in the morning, I run back up that hill. It's just, you know, it's perseverance.
It is. And I've talked to so many women who've gone through this, and attitude and positivity makes such a huge difference. Like
it really does, people. Yeah.
Your doctor told you to get your affairs in order, and you basically said, F no.
I did.
And
I have no idea
where that came from, but it did.
Really,
because if you took his advice, you would not be here.
I'd be dead. If I had listened to him, I would be dead. If I had done the if I hadn't helped myself, I'd be dead. Now, that's not to say that the medical community is to be forgotten or they have no value. I do not promote that. I'm not saying they have no value. I'm merely saying their value is better served with you than without you.
Definitely. And you really need to be your own advocate. And that's, it's something that cannot be expressed enough. Like we mentioned earlier, especially as women, we're taught to listen and not promote our cause and what we need to, but literally when it's life or death, there is no choice. And I know part of your course, and as a coach, you hear these women who, and you have coach women who unfortunately have not made it, and not
90%,
because not everyone is willing to take these steps to say, hey, pay attention to me, see me.
And they don't want to hurt. It's crazy. I can't tell you how many women don't want to hurt their doctors. I mean, and they don't say that, but that's what they're doing. I had a client that I coached, and her husband was going to get treatment for throat cancer, and she was, when they came to me, their treatment was scheduled, and I suggested, based on talking to them, getting a second opinion, because I felt that the quality of his life wasn't being considered. But all I'm saying is, can't hurt to get a second opinion, and then go back and just go ahead and do the treatment that you wanted to do if you find that you were on the correct course. But we're talking about life or death here. Don't you want to cover all ground, to leave no stone unturned prior to making the road less traveled, so to speak? And you know, what it comes down to is they're afraid like the doctor will get mad, or
Right.
I mean, like we're talking, uh,
We have a hard enough time
this
changing
person.
hairdressers.
Yeah,
And, the fact
yeah.
that we're supposed to, but it is so important if you don't feel that connection with your team, or they're not listening to you or taking your concerns seriously.
See, a lot of women don't know that.
Yeah.
You see,
Hmm.
you see what I'm saying? You have to go even the step prior to what you just said, because it's the understanding of what you're doing. You are like, I wasn't born to trust myself. You know, I mean, I guess you are as a child, but you grow out of that, and as an adult, you have all these sorts of fears, and as a woman and how you were educated and so forth. This is something that we have to teach ourselves, and now we turn around and teach our young ones. I mean, you teach your son, and then he'll teach his daughters, and he'll teach their wives, and we just have to talk.
Yeah, 100%. That is so important. Now, obviously we've been talking a lot about what you want to accomplish with your course and your book, but I forgot to ask you earlier, who do you think is the main audience for your book?
Well, I think the main audience, the people that have liked it the most are, 30s and 40s. But I do think a younger woman, that I wrote my book very much like exactly step by step, everything I went through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very genuine in the book. I leave nothing out, but it's a very raw account. It's not a medical book like most cancer's books.
Well, you're not a doctor. You're writing it
I'm
from your
not a
own
doctor.
point
I'm
of
writing
view.
to tell you what I went through so that you know what you can expect.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very sarcastic, strange sense of humor. And so there's a lot of that in the book too. But the one thing is family, and the family that and the support that I've had, that ribbons through the whole book, and it's quite clear. But I think that younger people, what I had started to say, I think that younger people ultimately will benefit from this book, because they're the ones that we need to educate, because we're kind of like over the hill. It's, unless you're given a death sentence like I am, it's very difficult to change the track of how you're living your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if we ultimately want to really make change, real change, we have to start with the younger girls. And so, I would think there's some swear words in here. I will be, because
the younger people swear more than we do at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm just telling, the mothers out there,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're going through pain, you swear.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm real in the book. But so, you might want to be, 15 or older or something, if they don't want their kids to read swear words. But let me tell you, there's nothing in the book that they can't read. And it's a good life lesson. And it's hopeful. Look, I'm still living. I'm still here. I didn't die at the end. We all know this because I'm on the cover. So there's hope and joy and love in the book, because my motto has always been, and I was at a book signing yesterday or Saturday, and I talk about this and I mean it. And I say from the beginning, I'm the luckiest girl around. I just happen to have cancer. And I mean that, because it sounds crazy, but I truly am lucky, because A, I'm still here. B, I got to raise my children. And C, I still get to talk to all of you. How lucky is that?
Yes.
100%.
And now that you're still raising your children, because I think that lasts forever.
Oh, but yeah. Like I said, I was just to run my son's rent to some crazy place to, yeah.
But you're doing all this while you are still sick, but you have found such an amazing purpose to help those so they don't have to go through what you've gone through. So, and
my greatest hope.
Definitely. And that's why I do this as well, because I want to be
Right.
able to share the information from amazing women like you.
You're amazing.
Well,
So share your experience too. You're a 2-time survivor. You're badass. I mean, come on, give yourself some credit too.
oh yeah.
mean, and then you do this wonderful podcast, which is a gift to women. How else would I be able to get my information out there if
Oh no. Viki, are you still there? Oh, here we go. We're back.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
We're back.
You didn't hear anything I was saying. I was saying how an awesome badass that you are.
No, I got a lot of that. Thank you.
Oh,
Don't worry.
okay.
I'll trim that back. But no, I think I'm so blessed and honored to have you here today and to share your story and what you are still going through. If we talked earlier about Lunge Healthcare or Lunge for Healthcare, I'm sorry, and your website, if people want to help out for Lunge, how can they do that?
Well, there's a button on my website. You certainly can donate to lungeforhealthcare.org. Or you know what? I'll take volunteers. I'll take help. I mean, you don't have to pay money to help other people. We can have a Zoom discussion. I can, we can, that you can give me suggestions. I don't know it all. I'm willing to learn. Maybe you want to teach me something. That's okay. So then I also have an exercise video that I have available on my website if you want to purchase, and it's a joyous just way to use movement when you're told that you can have no movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I teach everybody in that exercise video how to make it their own so that you can make it to something maybe more relatable and personable for you. So it's a real joyful video, and there's like a 30-second spot on there to kind of give you an idea of what that's about. And then I do offer my book for sale on my website, iamtheone.com. I offer my courses you can purchase on iamtheone.com. I do have all my social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all I Am The One. Viki, usually Viki Zarkin, I'm the one Viki Zarkin, I'm the one Viki.
Yeah, you're pretty easy to find out there.
Yeah, just hit Viki Zarkin and you're going to get all kinds of stuff that you probably don't even want. Oh my God, this lady won't get out of my face.
Now, Viki, what is up next for you for the future?
Well, I am going to be, I have chemo this week, but at the end of the week, I'm going away for 2 weeks with my family, which is nice.
Good for you.
Yeah, then I come back and it's back to work. So I've got a keynote in Florida
Nice.
at the EL Palm Spa and Resort. And I just been given an award by IAOTP for, gosh, what was that award for?
Anyway, you got a fabulous award.
I'm so sorry. It's like really like Woman of the Year or something. I mean, it was like so lovely. And so I'm going to be busy, speaking, teaching my class.
And living.
Hopefully people will write, and invite me places. Yes, I'm going to be living. Most importantly, I do that well, I must say.
Perfect. Well, I think that's our perfect end note. And gosh, Viki, thank you so much for being here today. Listeners, I hope you've gotten a lot out of this. And I cannot recommend enough going to her website and seeing everything that Viki has to offer at I Am The One and checking out the book, because you will not regret it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Yes. Thank you. Listeners, if you need our help, please go to breastfriends.org and see what we can do for you. You can find our podcast on the Voice America Health and Wellness channel or wherever you get your podcasts. And then the videos are also on the Breast Friends YouTube channel. If you would like to be my guest or share your warrior story with me, please email me at michellebeck@breastfriends.org. You can make a donation on our website or by texting BF Radio to 41444 to ensure that women do not go through cancer alone. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to all my listeners in Richardson, Texas. I know you're out there because I see those numbers. So please email me and tell me how you're doing and how you like the show. I would really appreciate it. So We will be back next week. And until then, remember, we rise by lifting each other.